So today's a big day. Our steer is getting butchered. And we like to have our animals butchered on the farm. So a portable butcher comes and butchers them, and basically that skins them, guts them, has them on the truck, and then they go to a small packaging plant that will put it into packages for our customers to then pick up. There's multiple reasons why we like this way the best. First, I got to get some jars for Lydia to wash, so that way when it's time to milk, those jars are ready. So then we can go ahead and milk as soon as he leaves, because we'll probably be a little late to milking time. I'm going to go ahead and get the Bobcat started, because we're going to need that. Even though it's middle of summer, still need glow plugs, because she's cold-blooded. That's a completely rebuilt motor. There's nothing wrong with the motor. That's just how God made that motor. So the only thing that Al requires when he comes to butcher on your farm is water. So I need to get a hose and bring that over to that frost-free hydrant, so that way he has water to rinse the animal off and himself and the equipment. So the number one reason why I like having my animals butchered on the farm is because there's little to no stress to them at all. You can see he's the one on the right there. I've had him for a little over 2 years now. And he has no idea. There's going to be no stress to him. Where you see him, he's just going to be out in the pasture like he is every day with his friends. I want to screw up. The end of that hose is definitely bent. So I'm going to have to get a wrench to get that on. Well, this is just ridiculous. Using an adjustable wrench. Can you do this right? To put this on the faucet. I think that's tight enough. This thing's all corroded because I used it out on pasture long term. I'm gonna have to leave that there, so that way it's there when I need it to take that hose off. But you know what's gonna happen is I'm not gonna remember that I left it there. I'm gonna be looking for it. Get these gates opened up. I have a 6-strand high tensile wire fence all the way around my 5 acres. But then 90% of the time, the animals are in some other form of fencing within that. So those gates are there in case they get out of their temporary fencing. They have to stay in the perimeter fence. So most of the time, those gates can be open. Quite a few jars. Not a ton. We don't keep track of our jars as good as we should. I'm sure we're missing some. And I don't think that's because people are taking them on purpose. I think that's because people are people and they forget. Because a lot of times we'll get close to not being able to have any jars, and then all of a sudden we'll get a bunch of them all at once brought back to us. Let's see. Still pretty full. Most people, I think, pick up after work. Just so you guys know, I'm not going to show anything bad. I'm going to show right up until the end and then cut it out because, well, for one, YouTube won't let me show any more than that. And I know some of you guys don't want to see more than that, so I'm going to respect that. So now, just got to wait for them to get here. They try to schedule it out, but it's not always scheduled out perfectly because things happen, you know. Sometimes cows don't cooperate, this or that. So this isn't an easy day. I get asked a lot how you can do this. How can you raise an animal for 2 years and care for it just to butcher it and eat it? Well, the truth is, I like meat. I like to eat meat. I like steak. I like burgers. It's good for you. It's good for your body. And if I'm going to do all that, I want to know where it came from and I want to know it was treated right. Yeah, here he comes. Tell him where to come in. Tell him to back up. Say, come on, back up. Hi, buddy. Come on. Go on. The fence isn't on. Go on. Yep. So these guys were actually 3 weeks old yesterday, and I apologize, but I was so busy. By the time I got around to weighing them yesterday, I didn't have my mic and stand out here. And so I just weighed them, wrote it all down, did the math, and I'm making the video today. So as far as looks, they're a day past 3 weeks, but the weights I got on time. So to go over my paperwork here, the Bresse started out at 42.8 grams a piece, and the Cornish Cross were 53.2 grams. By week 2, the Bresse doubled in size and were 95 grams a piece, and the Cornish Cross did a little better than that and went from the 53 grams to 187 grams. And also on week 2 to note that for the Bresse it took 3.15 grams of feed to gain 1 gram, and the Cornish Cross took 1.3 grams of feed to gain 1 gram. So now at week 3, the Bresse are 194 grams, so they more than doubled in size again. And the Cornish Cross are now 486.6 grams. So again, the Cornish Cross did more than double. For the feed conversion though, which I find this very interesting, the Bresse, like I said last week, we're at 3.15 grams of feed to gain 1 gram. This week, they went to 2.75 grams of feed to gain 1 gram. The Cornish Cross last week, it took them 1.3 grams to gain 1 gram. And this week, they actually lost ground, and it took them 1.5 grams of feed to gain 1 gram. So the Cornish Cross did go backwards in their feed conversion, whereas the Bresse went up in their feed conversion. So I'm curious to see if that's a trend. Definitely the Cornish Cross are still gaining weight way faster than the Bresse. which I assumed would happen. But right here, the feed conversion, I think, is what we need to watch. And I think that's where the Bresse are going to pull ahead, especially when I get them outside. Notice I got them in some wire cages because they were starting to fly out and fly everywhere. At 3 weeks, both of them, the Cornish Cross could hardly get out, but they could get out of those toads. And it was mostly when the kids came in here and tried to pet them or whatever. That's most of the time when they got out. I never came in here and seen them out, but I just wanted to make sure we lock them down and make sure they're not eating each other's food and what have you. But I'm not sure what my plan is as far as to get them outside. I do have them off heat. It's been plenty hot in here. They're old enough that they should do just fine without heat. Our days right now are 90, 95 degrees, but at night we're getting down to 60 degrees now, so I'm a little leery to put them outside right at this moment. And to be honest with you, I don't really know how I'm going to make that happen yet. I don't have an open chicken tractor at all. I'm pretty much maxed out to the gills on that, so I'm going to have to make something or come up with something yet, hopefully in the next week or two. So this is the American Bresse at 3 weeks old. You can see the beautiful slate blue legs now. It's pretty crazy how that happens in 3 weeks time. I've had a lot of customers say, you sent me chicks and none of their feet are blue. Well, they end up changing, and most of mine will be blue by 3 weeks, but you'll still get some that have a white toe or what have you. That's just something that happens. I'm trying to breed that out, but it takes time. And you can see right there is the hole punch. A lot of people ask about that. It's just a round hole in its webbing. It's all healed up. It'll be there permanently, so I know what breeding group this chick came from. But you can see as far as feathers, decently feathered out. Obviously the head and neck doesn't have any feathers yet. It's getting some feathers there on the back. Got some decent tail feathers. Looking pretty good. I mean, this right here, I wouldn't be scared to put this chick outside, to be honest with you. So, and here's your Cornish Cross, which is still very much naked. It is getting some feathers in. Massive feet. You can already see a big breast on this chicken. I mean, hardly any feathers on the belly. I don't know. To me, they just already look nasty. And I've always thought that, even before I raised breast chickens, but this just doesn't give you a warm, fuzzy feeling. I don't know. But you cannot deny how fast they grow. And as far as converting feed into chicken, they do an amazing job. So these are wire cages, but I do not like raising chickens on wire. I don't know, especially little chicks. And so I ended up putting them on the floor with shavings. I also thought that it wouldn't be a fair advantage if I put them on wire, because those Cornish Cross have leg problems in general, and I thought that might amplify that. So I didn't think it would be a fair comparison, because I think the Bresse would be able to handle the wire just fine. So that's why I ended up doing that. Very interesting numbers. Can't wait to see what next week brings, to see if this is an actual trend or if it was just a fluke thing or a 1 week thing. So check back next week and we'll go over them again.